Isaac, how are you, bro?
Good, how are you?
Good. How was your day?
Good. Very nice weather outside.
Yeah,
Not raining.
After this atmospheric river.
Really terrifying. But yeah, we're all here.
Nice. Thanks for
having me.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for coming.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just dive right into it.
Of course.
How you been lately? Tell me about your chef life.
Oh, working at the Pan Pacific has been challenging to a certain point, but it was actually very fun because since coming back from Shangri-La Hotel into actually I would say it's a bigger hotel, our occupancy level is higher, our food preparations, the amount is endless, and cruise ships. So it's a lot going on this summer. Past summer was absolutely crushing busy, but learned a lot from it. Met a lot of good people, working with Chef Sean, Chef Derek, Chef Roel, and having an amazing team that really supports you, not just by words and like toxic mentality. And yeah, it's been really good. And obviously working with you side by side was awesome as well, introducing you to the new people. And yeah, new menu coming out, constantly something going on.
Nice.
Yeah.
I mean, the team at Pan Pacific, even though I don't talk to them a lot, I love going there and speaking with them just because they're so humble. It seems like they really value the team aspect of things. And if you're a key player, and I guess everyone on the team's a key player, right? But there's that synergy.
They know what they're doing.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's why you and I work well together as well, because there's that synergy where we can talk very casually. Of
course.
It doesn't have to be super professional, but obviously when it comes down to business, business is business. You need to do your thing, and I need to do my thing as well, right? But it works.
Yeah.
There's no clashing, and
yeah, I think you and I we've known each other, well, not too long, but I mean known each other enough to kind of like go through different.
I think it's been a while. I've known you since where was it?
21? End of 21, I'm assuming?
I think it's before Carlino, right?
Yeah, before Carlino, around 5 sales.
Right, 5 sales.
Yeah.
And then you kind of, what was it?
And then I went to executive at hotels after that.
Oh, yeah.
And then after that, I went to Carlino. Yeah, but everywhere I, got a job or taking care of a team, I always brought you over because you were very knowledgeable in what you sell, and that's the best thing for suppliers, knowing what you're selling and knowing who to sell to and like how your products shine, instead of just like, hey, buy my stuff. There's a lot of pushy salesmen especially in Vancouver. I'm sure all over the world there is, but I've never found any supplier that actually goes out and about to get the stuff that this person needs, because genuinely want to help them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's the kind-hearted that I kind of saw from you, and then that's why I want to hey, bring Stanley over. His prices are great. Not just his prices are great. I mean, his customer service is top level, right?
Well, I mean, I respond to you any time of the day.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, not to toot my own horn or anything, but I really do love what I do.
Yes.
And I hope it shows.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Starting Hook and Herd, it makes me very happy because now I can freely do what I wanted to always do, whereas before when I was somewhere else, my hands were tied. I always had to ask for permission, get approval for this and that, and it sucked.
Yeah, it just kind of drains you if you have those kind of people on top of you kind of pushing you down. Yeah, you're not doing that right, this and this. At the end of the day, you gotta do what makes you happy, right? And which you did. Obviously, it's challenging doing your own business compared to being at a place for 20 years. It's a huge jump, but
it is.
You know your stuff more than anybody. Even if I call Blundell right now, and they'll be like, I don't know if I could get this for you tomorrow. Stanley would have got it right away, or at least told me hey, I'm trying. Just give me more time. You know, something. Most suppliers are just yeah, no, I can't do it. They didn't even bother trying, ask me when I need it by. It's just no, I can't. So that's the big connection I had with you. You do take care of your customers. Not just customers, but friends, and reach out and see how they're doing. Yeah.
Thank you.
No problem.
So going from the restaurants to Pan Pacific, which is a pretty big, busy hotel, right at the waterfront,
Yeah.
right beside the cruise ships. Like, how was that transition period for you?
Well, coming from Carlino, Shangri-La, it's right in the middle of downtown. Obviously, it's not too far from Pan Pacific, but it's a very different demographic. I would say when I was at Carlino, it was just mainly people who just expected Shangri-La, just like as a corporate entity, be like, oh, Shangri-La, yeah, I'm sure they have good food, but it just wasn't delivering as they promoted themselves to be. So it was quite disappointing. I'm not saying anything bad about them. It's just experience I had personally as a chef de cuisine at Carlino.
But you were Michelin recommended when you were there, right?
Yes, it was. They got their first one, yeah, and I ended up retaining it, which was very challenging because I was off of being fine dining game for quite a bit, and then going back in, and a lot of pressure on my shoulders, obviously. But I pulled through, and then we retained it. Went to the ceremonies 2023. It was mind blowing. It was amazing. I never knew I would go to a ceremony again.
Yeah. And you were leading the team when
Yes.
you got that, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, you were the mastermind behind it.
I tried to be. Mainly, it's just the guys pulled through. They worked their asses off to prove that we're not just a boring Italian restaurant. We have creative ideas, dishes, and we have a strong, knowledgeable team around us. So that kind of like boosted us the confidence to keep it. Obviously, I'm no longer there, and I just recently heard that they retained it, which is amazing. I have no problem congratulating them. Obviously, we had our differences, that's why I moved out. But I'm happier where I am.
Yeah. So, what's the biggest thing with Pan Pacific or at the hotel now where, like, you seem more comfortable, you're more at home, and you're less stressed out, it seems like?
Yeah, despite the challenging, customers from all over the world, especially if it's from a cruise, everybody wants to eat at the end of the day. It's about food. You're pumping out food. It doesn't have to be about what they're complaining about. I don't like this. After moving from Carlino to here, I came more in peace with myself, with my cooking. Before it was like, oh, why don't they like it? Oh, why can't they like it? I was just very aggressive with it. Obviously, that's because of my perfectionist in my mind and my OCD kicking in and trying to like make everything perfect.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, people just want to eat good food, right? It doesn't have to be fancy. They don't need no fancy plate. As long as the flavor's there, you're doing all the work there. Maybe it could just be a burger, but some customer could be saying, oh, this is the best burger I've ever had in my life.
Yeah.
That's the thing that gets me going at the end of the day. So I've just rerouted back to my original thinking of why am I want to be a chef? That's it. If I make something, someone likes it, they love it, that's what gets me going. So I try to drop all that fine dining stuff and stick to the roots of why I became a chef, and I've never been happier.
And you have the flexibility at the hotel as well, right? Like, and chef gives you free reign to do what your mind creates. And
obviously, it took me quite a bit to get there because obviously never worked with him before, and after him hiring me, giving me a couple tests, and impressing the board of ops, which was huge, and hearing that from the executives personally saying your food is amazing and I appreciate what you're doing here, it just gets you going. It's like another level of happiness, I guess. So I feel content, that's a better word. They've been so supportive of whatever I do, especially chef, and just gaining that trust over a matter of 3-4 months is huge.
It is.
Yeah, you do whatever you want. I think it's gonna work. You know your pricing, you know your suppliers well, you know where to cut costs, you know what's trendy. So those kind words were actually very motivating for me. That's it.
Cool. I mean, this, on the topic of the Michelin star or Michelin recommended, Michelin period. The Bear.
Amazing show.
Have you been watching it?
Yeah, I watched all of it. Binge watched it actually.
how true is the bear compared to real life?
Well, there's many sides that the bear shows. There's the diner side of the bear, which is constant, chaotic, let's get this people fed. I don't care what it looks like, just throw it out there. And then the other side is, do that again, chef. That is not ready yet, chef. Not yet ready, chef. There's a lot of restrictions, especially if you go on fine dining, because everything has to be perfect.
Yeah.
Because the customer's paying, it may look like a couple $100 to you, but to other families, that's like weeks of saving, And then they come to your restaurant, they expect the best. Mm-hmm. And what the bear actually, when they opened the restaurant, it was quite similar to what I've experienced in my life, working in Michelin restaurants. It's very intense. Lots of trial and error. Lots of swearing. Obviously, it's a kitchen. It's standard kitchen life, and there's a lot of bringing people down to their deep core and making them feel useless. I think that's on point because when I was apprentice working, peeling onions, potatoes, whatever the chef tells you to do, you got to do.
Yeah.
Because you have no experience. Started off as a dishwasher, but literally doing dishwashing for a month, I was like, this is not it. And then I just practiced at home, bought a bunch of ingredients and then started practicing, and then it went up my way and then went into fine dining. And then really the show actually kind of shows you how hard it is to feed people. Like, it's at the end of it, feeding people again, but to that level, it's intense.
And it can go two ways as well, right? So if you're being pushed to the limits of feeling like you're
worthless. Yeah, exactly.
One person can take it as, hey, he's teaching me a lesson, or someone can just be like, fuck it, I'm done.
They give up halfway through. Almost, I'd say 8 times out of 10, most wannabe chefs just I can't take it anymore, and then they end up. I'm not saying anything wrong about Instagram chefs, but they just do that because it's more comfortable for them. Mm-hmm. I'm not pressured by a chef telling me you're doing this wrong because the carrot's the other way. You know what I mean? It's just you do what you want to do. But to some people, they get motivated by when you can't impress the chef.
Because you want to do better.
Exactly. And when you get into that momentum and the chef notices your talent, just that little smidge of it, that's the best feeling.
Even just like a little smirk from him.
Oh, your puree is perfect. That one word is just like, oh, I wasn't expecting that. Mm. It's like a whip and a carrot for horses, but obviously most other restaurants would give you the whip 9 times out of 10 every day. Yeah, and never give you the carrot. There's some restaurants like that. You never know, but the restaurants I've been experiencing and what Bear is portraying, I kind of agree to a certain point, but it's not 100% true. Not everything that the Bear was showing is how the kitchen life is. Mm-hmm. It's just over-exaggerating, obviously, because it's a show, of course, thing, and people love drama, and that's what the viewers goes up. But in reality, it's a tough industry. Not a lot of people end up making it to even 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, I guess another aspect that a lot of people don't understand about the Bear is they're actually business owners as well, right? And they owe a lot of money. Yeah. And luckily they only owe it to a family member who's quite nice and lenient and flexible about it. However, it's still a lot of money that they're owing, so they're in a lot of debt.
Yeah, in one of the scenes, they're bringing up a bill about a butter. That was $10,000. Right. And he's like, yeah, it's the best. Yeah, it's the best. He walks away. Yeah, bring $10,000 out of nowhere. It's insane to pay for an ingredient such as butter. Mm-hmm. 10 grand. That's crazy. I mean, you as a chef know the ingredients, mm-hmm. right? I don't know. I'm a home cook and everything. I love to cook. However, I don't have the skills as you guys do. Like, is there such a big difference with $10,000 butter versus $5 brick? Really depends on where you're using that. So if you're using butter to base meat, no, you're crazy. Mm-hmm. You should just stop what you're doing and find another career. But if you're using the butter to enhance a dish that everybody could say, oh, that's the expensive butter on there. Like Wagyu, like any, expensive ingredients, truffles, caviar. You want to show the showpiece, right? Instead of just like smothering it with something else. Yeah, that 10,000 butter is in there. How do we know? How does the customer know? So that's one of the things is customers should see what they're eating and experience that this is from this place, or grass-fed beef, or Wagyu A5.
So kind of emphasize the star of the dish.
If you're using the ingredient, make it shine. Don't hide it under a bunch of micros. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Okay. And, back to the bear, like, there's the craziness in the kitchen. Obviously a lot of swearing and everything like that. Would you say that's every day, or, just Christmas time, busy season?
Really depends on what kind of culture the chef made for the kitchen. It's not all kitchens swear. So I've worked in kitchens that we don't talk at all. No music, no nothing. All you hear is appliances. That's it. And only person that talks is the expo, which just like in The Bear, there's a scene where the only expo talks and nobody talks. And that's a normal thing if you go in fine dining. But in normal restaurants, such as a pub or casual dining, mainly the back of house swears a lot. It's just, I don't want to, generalize, but most of the people that I worked with or for had a lot of mental issues. It's because of their upbringing, or they went through the same thing as they had a hard chef that was always picking on them, or that you're saying you're worthless, just like The Bear, how, at the end of the third season, that last episode where there's a reunion at Ever, it meets it with the old chef. It says, why did you do that? Like, what do you mean, why did I do that? I made you better. You were just an average chef, now you're an amazing chef. Like that resonated with me because I know that feeling. I know that feeling of being worthless, but at the end of the day, years from now, I met that chef before again, and then he's like, look what you become. I'm proud of you. It's the only thing I wanted to hear from her. It's just like, I guess, like when kids have daddy issues, they never get, recognized for their talents, or like you never said good job, same thing. But yeah, that's the industry. It's a tough industry.
Okay. Is it true that everyone is called chef? No.
You're a cook.
I know it's a sense of respect. I get that because when I go into the kitchen and have my meetings with you guys, everyone I see is, "Hi, chef." Thank you, chef. But in The Bear, dishwashers are being called chef, servers are being called the chefs, expos being called the chef. So I can see it as a sign of respect, but is it like that in real life?
Not necessarily. But at the same time, you don't call someone a cook. You're like, "Thank you, cook." It just doesn't roll off the tongue right? So calling everyone chef is just keeping the respect level, like you said. But the difference between a chef and a cook is a chef could replicate the dish through a cook, right? That is a chef. A cook is cooking their own thing. Hey, I did a good job. You'll remain a cook. A chef managed other people, nurture them. And like Thomas Geller said in The Bear, like nurturing, that's the best thing.
Yeah.
Teaching them and then making a duplicate of you if, they want to be a great chef, or they're really motivated, or they're ambitious, But people just want to do their jobs and go home. You can't call them a chef because they're not creating menus, they're not nurturing other people, they don't know what costing is, they don't even know how much an avocado costs nowadays, So they just waste it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. A career and a job, that's a huge difference.
Okay. And then at the end, they're chasing a star. They're trying very hard to get this star, and it's causing a lot of conflict, issues, drama. When you're experiencing that yourself, was it relatable or just kind of over dramatic?
I would say level 1 to 10, I would say a 7 of being dramatic.
Yeah.
Because it can get chaotic and people can, start fights, throw pans at each other. Even nowadays, that culture is gone. People think it's gone. It's not. It will forever be there. Unless all the old chefs pass away. That's a different story. But it's just the old chefs train the chefs, especially me, my generation, become chefs, and then they see younger generations. We always complain, or they always complain. Like, oh, why am I doing this? Oh, I don't like you. I'm gonna go. It's just like, it's not for me. I quit. That mentality is so big nowadays. When I was apprentice, you either do it or you don't. You know what I mean? But I did it because I wanted it so bad. I'm not saying that's Gen Zs or Alphas or whatever you guys call it now. They don't want to try. It's just they were working smarter. But you're not putting in the work. That's the thing. Whatever you do, you got to put in the work at least 10 years and call yourself, hey, I've done something.
You put in your time.
Exactly. I've been cooking for 20 years and it just doesn't come easy. 10 years of my life, I was so dialed in working, and then I lost myself. I was gaining weight, I was depressed, I was smoking way too much, eating way too much, and just drinking too much. It was miserable because I just couldn't find the balance, work-life balance. I hate that corporate word, but it's there. It's needed. Can't just burn yourself 18 hours a day.
Let's dive into that a little bit. Mental health, right?
Yeah.
Like, what was the biggest challenge, or what brought you to the lowest point of your life in terms of being in the kitchen and juggling your personal life, relationships?
I would say when I hit my first head chef job, I was 24. I think that was very challenging because
it was a lot of pressure.
It was a lot of pressure. I had to deal with suppliers. I had to deal with the owners not liking this and that. I have to pretty much people please every single day. Obviously, this is service industry. You have to people please.
Yeah.
But you had to people please. I had to people please so much. I had to literally lose myself and just be this robot that just does the job, never has breaks, or no time for family, no time for girlfriends, no time for my pets at the time. It takes a huge toll out of you. But obviously I wasn't working out or anything to, make myself better physically.
So during that time, like when you weren't working out, were you just eating more in the kitchen since you're surrounded by food? Or?
I wasn't eating at work.
Yeah.
I was eating after work late at night. So I know every chefs agree with that. They order McDonald's or Burger King, anything. It's just that was my therapy, and which it was terrible for my health. Didn't even drink water. I'd replace it with Coke. It's just it's so bad for you.
I mean, I see it. You guys have the deli containers.
Yeah,
they're like 16 ounces or something like that, and you guys fill it with pop. I guess because it's refreshing and being in a hot kitchen, it gives you that nice hit where it's just like, oh, this is good.
But it's sugar. You should be drinking water. Right? So that's it. I grew that habit while working. I didn't eat forever. I gotta eat something, and then you just smash food in your mouth, and then you go back online, bills are coming in, and then you're continuously working while you're eating and chewing, you know what I mean? Even if it's a closed kitchen, obviously. So it's just, you pick up a lot of bad habits, and a lot of chefs have a lot of bad habits. Drinking, drugs, just being an asshole in general. They choose to do that. They always blame it on their own life, but it's your own life. You got to fix it. No one else is going to do it for you. No one's going to hold their hand for you. You know what I mean?
So how did you climb out of this hole for yourself?
I went into fine dining.
Okay.
To level up myself because I was so miserable. Well, my first job, I was working at the boathouse. Shucking close to 6,000 oysters a day. Shucked my hand a couple times. Fainted. Good times. But what I learned there was mass production. I could do that. So I had that under my belt. Okay, what's next? And then I moved to one of the top fine dining restaurants. Used to be called Rain City Grill.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it used to be pretty much the pinnacle. Right next to Filipinos, that kind of level. Unfortunately, they had a lot of debts and then they perished. But I learned a lot from that restaurant and met a lot of great chefs through the chef there. Very fortunate to meet a lot of great chefs, and then led to another place because of them, or recommendation, or just a simple phone call or text literally got me a job. And it was intense. Fine dining was intense, but it was different and I liked it. That's why I wanted to keep striving forward, be better. And I'll be like, one day I'll be there. One day I'll be standing in the middle. Everyone's working with me and for me, and I'm playing, that kind of dream, like you see at the Bear. Exactly how I envisioned it, and it came true. It wasn't easy. Nothing's easy.
Would you say you're at your peak now, or you still got some ways to go?
I'm content where I am. I've been in Michelin star restaurants, working for really intense chefs, and I only picked the best out of them. What I learned, not just the bad habits, but I try to turn the bad habits into a better version of myself when I treat other people, when I become that position, and nurturing is the thing I learned, not just watching The Bear, seeing Thomas Kelly years ago.
I mean, in The Bear, you also see that he pushed away his love of his life, basically. How would you relate that to yourself and mental health?
Some things you gotta let go if you want something bigger. I'm not saying that you guys had a bad relationship or anything like that. It's just men have to do something significant, such as sacrificing your relationship to achieve your goal. Let's say if you want to win a Michelin star or be in a Michelin star and be a better chef, you gotta sacrifice regardless. And in the beginning, like we're talking about, I sacrificed my health to learn cooking. Obviously I could have worked out and ate better and be in a better mental state, but it's just there's a lot of stuff missing in my self in the past, and then I try to gain that through cooking. It was a terrible way, but I learned my lesson, and then now I'm trying to be healthier, drink less, eat healthy, work out, and see a lot of motivational videos and watching a lot of cooking show. Regardless, I would come home after 16 hours of shift, and I'd just go on YouTube, go on Eater, and just watch all these chefs cook and learn from them. Even though I'm tired, I'm dead tired, but it's just my body's automatically going to it. That means I'm still passionate about it, right?
And you're trying to get new ideas, and
so passion is the hardest thing to kind of maintain. You might lose it the next day. Because I stopped cooking for about 4 years before. Went into car sales, tried to do something else, trying to find the purpose. What else can I do, And test your waters. Ended miserably. So I came back stronger than ever, and then ended up in Michelin star restaurant.
Nice.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, same thing. I had periods where I was trying to find what I enjoyed, what was right for me. And I started off in restaurants because my dad owned a restaurant, so I helped out there when I was young, learned a lot. First job I got was dishwasher downtown, and then of course I tried different restaurants and worked my way up to a line cook. And then I'm like, no, I kind of want to do something else. So I went to the hotels and applied to be a front desk agent. Became a night auditor, which screwed up my sleeping because graveyard shifts for 3 years was very hard to change back to normal. But I wanted to do sales. I saw all these sales guys in nice suits and everything like that, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna try to apply. Never got accepted. Couldn't figure out why. And then eventually I started talking to the management and asking hey, how do I get to this point? And they basically said, you get hired within, but being, lower down on the totem pole, I didn't want to waste my youth. So I went to look for a sales job, and it was between Blendell Seafoods or Budget Rent-A-Car. And I compared the two. Went home, compared the two, and budget rent a car would basically just be same thing as hotels, standing behind a desk trying to upsell people while they're renting a car. So you know what? I'm like, I'll try this seafood sales job. And I was there for like 13 years, and it defined who I was and made me realize what I love, you know, the relationship aspect of things, building relationships, keeping the relationships, and having the knowledge of food, and learning to love food and ingredients as well.
I think it gives you confidence, right? When you find that, you know, that click.
Yeah. It's endorphins, you know, like it's not just the part where I'm like, oh great, I have a new customer or a new client, but just knowing that, for example, when you go to a different restaurant, you're like, hey Stan, I'm gonna call you up, I want to use you again. Or I get a referral from another chef and they're like, hey, I hear great things about you, but I don't take the recognition just on myself. I have a team and they deserve to be recognized for that, because without the team, the company would not be what it is today, right? And it's very crucial.
That's the same thing as, you know, retaining or gaining a Michelin star recommendation or whatever the case is. It's not always about the chef. It's never about the chef. The chef doesn't do everything. It's the team that you have. You're just one of the leaders out of many in the, you know, company. But surprisingly, you shine through, and then, you know, you always have to recognize your kitchen team, and the front of house as well, because we have to work as a team. The first star is obviously all about the food. Second is food and experience, and then the third one is the whole thing, atmosphere to the touch, you know, everything.
Yeah.
But for your sales is it's a tough, it's a tricky thing. It's not something like, hey, sell me this. Yeah, I sold it. Yeah, here you go. It doesn't work like that.
No.
You gotta build relationship from the bottom all the way to the top, and you gotta be going non-stop.
It is non-stop. I mean, ever since I got into sales, I'm on my phone 24/7. I don't like it. I've learned to kind of step away from it a little bit. However, it's just a habit, force of nature now. It's second nature to me. I love it, and it's not because I'm trying to get distracted or anything, but I always feel the need to respond right away. If I don't respond right away, that's not me. And luckily, I have a partner who is extremely amazing. She understands. However, like there are times where I'm like, okay, we're out for a date or whatever, I need to put it aside. And that was a very hard thing to do at first, but I'm starting to get better and better with it. And I think that really affected my personal mental health as well, because like it was just very draining. But at the same time, like I get this endorphin kick. It's just like a lot of people who go on Instagram and they're like, oh, I get this endorphin kick because I'm looking at, you know, food. I'm looking at like dogs, cats, whatever.
It's like drugs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're an addict. You keep going back to it, but the key thing about success and thriving is you need self-control, right? You can't just go all the time, because you keep running and you don't stop, and then you look back, everyone's so far away that the main thing that you should be focusing on is obviously your family, your health, you know, and especially people that you love. You can't drive away from that. They're the reason why you're doing this, right?
That's true.
At the end of the day, you have kids, you know. So it's just never lose what your purpose is.
Never lose sight of who you are.
Yeah, exactly. The moment you keep going, everyone's gonna be gone the next day. Especially, you know, parents, you're not gonna be here forever. Obviously, you want to point, hey, I'm doing well here. I wanted to do this for you, this, but parents really don't care what you give for them. It's just as long as you're happy and, you know, you're taken care of and you have a partner, you know, that's all they care about, right? Especially family. It's huge. You should never let that go. And you have a great partner, and she's very understanding, and says you're very lucky. And I do respect that a lot about her as well. And she's a good influence to you.
Absolutely, hands down.
Makes you a different person.
Well,
Every year I see you, you're like glowing, you know? It's different. That's a good sign.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, for yourself, like, how important is a partner for you in your life? And in terms of your career and your mental health, with, you know, dealing with the craziness of a kitchen?
I would say it doesn't revolve around my life. It's not the center of it. It shouldn't be the center of it. You live your life and she lives her life. You guys working together as a team to maintain the relationship. That's the relationship.
Yeah.
You're not worshiping the person. It's not God to you. You know, I'm a Christian myself. I believe in God, but I don't worship her. I try not to. Obviously, every guy says this. It's like, oh my God, I lost her. What do I do? Everybody goes through that. But at the same time, again, self-control. You know what I mean? You gotta set your priorities. Work together. That's the thing. Doesn't go one way. You know, never does. Then you become drained and you lose the sight of why you're living.
Yeah.
You don't live for her. She doesn't live for you. You live for yourself. And you find the balance between love and, you know, work. But yes, in the beginning, my work was draining. I'm sure you know when I was an executive, I was working nonstop. Whenever we have meetings where I'm just like bloodshot, dying, and then you're like, you good? You know, it's just, it's hard to see your friends go through that too.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Where do you see the future of food going? Food trends? I mean, things have changed so much with social media, right? So there's just so much random stuff.
Yeah.
And fads and trends and
AI taking over, you know? I don't know. I people adapt, I think. No matter how, you know, expensive food ingredients are, or appliances, or oh, they don't eat this anymore. The trend is this now. You know, like, stay true to yourself. Stay true to what you want to cook and what you do best. Not follow trends. Being trendy is great, but doing what everyone else is doing. You know, like Vancouver special. Black cod, soy marinated black cod, beet salad. Everyone's tired of that, but they still do it anyway because it works, because it makes the money, right? At the end of the day, it's business. It really depends on how you think about it, business-wise, or you want to follow the trend, or I'm an Instagram guy, so I have bring up the followers, so I'm gonna do all these new hacks and trendy stuff. I'm against that, but hey, you do you. You know, it's your life. But for me, I personally like cooking what I like to cook and to feed others. I don't change anything. I don't change recipes because, oh, avocados are $50 a pound. Well, if that's the case, yes, I'll change it, take it out completely. But trendy, no, I don't follow that. It's just
Do you see yourself like incorporating a bit of your Korean background?
Oh yeah. Always. But I don't try to do that Korean French fusion. Just say that you're doing Korean French fusion. It's just cringy. It's just a fusion. The word fusion is very old, dated. You know what I mean? I'd say just a collab. Hey, I'm doing mixing flavors from all over. You know, since from Vancouver. Yeah. You know, Pacific Northwest. I don't know how people put it, but it's a mix of cultures. You could do a butter chicken with, you know, buttermilk. Yeah. You can't call that butter chicken. You gotta use cream. You know, there's certain things that you can't change, like mashed potatoes using milk. Who would do that? You know, like, there's things that just let it be. Just leave that alone. Don't try to change it. You could do your own version of it, but don't call it this. That's what I learned when I was first head chef. I made a beef tartare for one of the owners, and he's super French, like super dead on French. He's like, no, that's not tartare. That's not tartare. Like, he was so upset. He threw it at it.
Oh wow.
I was like, what? This is my version of it. No, it has to stick with, you know, cornichons, Dijon, you know, capers, shallots, parsley, whatever it is, egg yolk. Just keep it simple. You know, KSS, keep it simple, stupid. But people keep trying to change it something better. Oh, I dry aged this, I smoked this. No one cares. It doesn't taste good. Yeah. You know what I mean? It has to taste good at the end of the day. It's food. People paying money for that. And yeah, you want to charge $34 for that? Get out of here.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I see your Instagram is starting to be more active. You are posting a lot more beautiful food that you create. So what's your Instagram handle?
My Instagram handle is Chef Chegg, Chegi. The reason I made it that way is when I was working at Carlino, one of my cooks, every time he tries to call me Chef Isaac, he would be like Chegg Isaac. It's just his accent wouldn't.
They just kind of rolled off. Yeah, you're like, hey, this is pretty cool.
Exactly. So it's pretty nice. And then the I is obviously my name, Isaac. Yeah, Chegi_.
Sweet.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess we'll catch you next time.
Wow, hour past that way.
Yeah, that was
That's awesome.
quick.
Thank
So,
you.
Thanks
you,
everybody.
Thank you.